Hello guys, you are listening to the English Made Simple show. This is episode number 112, 112 or 112, número 112. Welcome to another cool episode of the English Made Simple show. My name is Milena from EnglishMadeSimple.net, EnglishMadeSimple.net. Hey amigos, nice to have you tune in today. Thank you for taking the time out of your super, extremely busy days to tune in to the English Made Simple show. Nice to have you on board, amigos. To my regular listeners, welcome for the 112th time. And to my new listeners, welcome amigos y amigas. Sit back, enjoy and learn some English. That's why we are here. Today's episode will be a bit different. It is sort of related to the business speak from last month. It is related, but not completely. It will apply to the everyday English type of conversations, but it can also be applicable to business English as well. So, let's get straight into it. Let me start off by asking you a question. Amigos, have you ever been rejected? Have you ever been rejected? ¿Te han rechazado alguna vez? Or have you ever had to reject somebody? Have you ever had to say no to someone? ¿Le has tenido que decir no a alguien? Saying no to someone. We've all been there before. I know we've all been there before. I've been on both sides actually. Received too many rejections in my life, in my personal and professional life. C'est la vie. But I've also been on the other side when I had to give rejections to someone, when I had to reject somebody. It's never nice to reject someone, and it's never nice to receive a rejection. On the other hand, saying yes to too many things sounds great in theory, but it can often cause problems if we say yes to more than we can physically and mentally handle. So in today's episode, I'm going to give you some tips on how to say no in a polite manner without hurting other people's feelings. How to reject someone politely, and also how to deal with rejections. What's the best approach to dealing with rejections? Stay till the end of the show to find out more. I'll give you some examples. You know, I am surprised that not many English books talk about rejections or teach about how to express disagreements. There are some books out there that do mention this. However, there aren't too many of them. In any case, I've decided to record today's episode to introduce you to some new terminology which I think will be of great use to you. It's useful and sometimes necessary in life to learn how to say no politely. It's a skill to be able to say no to someone. So, what are some situations or examples where someone may be rejected? The number one example of where someone may be rejected is at the job interview, or after the job interview, I should say. You know what I mean? You go to the interview, but you just don't get the job at the end. I will talk more about this as an example later on, so stick around. The next example would be you resign from your current place of employment, or you resign from your job. That could be considered as a rejection. More examples where someone could be rejected is when the company decides to fire you or make you redundant. Cuando te despiden del trabajo. Normally they would prepare something called a termination letter or letter of termination, and they would have had to give you plenty of notice. Also, when you say no to your colleagues who invite you to after-work drinks or after-work activities, you could be saying no to your boss. That's a scary one. Saying no to extra work, saying no to your boss. And when you're on a romantic date and you don't like the person you're having the dinner with, you will have to politely say no to that person. Well, after the dinner, of course. First eat. You could be saying no to your family members. I don't know about you, but I'm usually very straightforward or directa with my family members. Sometimes just saying no thanks is good enough. You don't have to start explaining yourself why. Like the time when my husband asks me to wash the dishes and I say, nah. See, no further explanation required. You would have to say no to your friends. How do you say no to your friends without sounding like a biatch, without sounding arrogant? Okay, so those were some real-life examples you would find yourselves in. Some are difficult and some are easy to handle situations. When it comes to work scenarios, we must learn how to say no so that we don't overwhelm ourselves. Because if we do say yes to everything, we risk double booking ourselves or creating a never-ending to-do list. I used a couple of terms here that I need to explain to you guys. The two phrases, to be double booked and a to-do list. You can double book yourself by accident. It just means to reserve 2 different meetings for the same time at the same hour. That's what double booking means. Realistically speaking, physically you're not able to attend 2 meetings at the same time. Not possible. Unless you're a Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman can appear anywhere, anytime. She has the superpowers, but you don't. Right. It could happen when you travel. Your hotel can inadvertently double book you because their booking system failed. It did happen to me once, so they had to find another available room to put me in. It does happen, guys. And the next useful phrase to remember was the to-do list, the one I mentioned earlier, to-do list. A to-do list is a list of tasks that need to be completed by set due dates. The dates which you would have set by yourself, for yourself. Normally, you would be the one who prepares your own to-do list. Also, you would prioritize it as well. Usually, the first task on the list would be the most important one to be completed. Okay, now let me give you example phrases which you can start using today if necessary to say no to someone. Let's use the workplace as an example. For instance, your boss comes up to you and says, Carlos, are you able to start on the XYZ project? We need someone to start on this ASAP, as soon as possible. But Carlos is already super busy and is working on 2 other projects that are due very soon. How could Carlos say no to his boss? How can Carlos best manage this situation? What's the best reply to his boss? I know the worst response. The worst response Carlos could give to his boss would be, no, I can't fit it into my current workload. Are you nuts? Are you out of your mind? Leave me alone. I got no time for you. Okay, that's the worst case scenario. Instead, Carlos could say, I am currently working on the project X, which is due next week, and I'm also preparing the sales presentation for next month. How much time can you give me to complete the new project? Carlos should get his boss to reprioritize responsibilities for him. His boss needs to be aware of the workload. Cool. Another example I'd like to share with you guys is saying no to your colleagues or your friends. Let's imagine either one of them, colleagues or friends, invite you to a party. But what you would rather do is stay at home in your PJs, your pajamas. Eat fast food, drink wine, and watch Netflix, watch some telenovelas. What would you say to your friends or colleagues in this case? and you don't want to hurt their feelings, what would you say? One way you could reject them politely is to say, "Oh, wow, that sounds like a great idea, but I'm afraid I can't join you. I had a long, stressful week and I need some time to rest. You guys have fun without me. Let's catch up another time." It's better to give an extended answer or a bit of a long explanation when you are saying no to your friends. It kind of softens the blow. Try not to be short with your answers. If you simply say, "No thanks," they might get offended, so try to avoid being short with your answers. Another simple way of declining the invitation would be, in this case, "Thank you for the invite, guys, but I have already made other plans for tonight. I'll be keen to go with you next time. Have fun." Right, do you agree with me, amigos y amigas? I hope so. Just now I mentioned something earlier. I mentioned a new phrase. It softens the blow. It's an expression and it means to make the other person feel less disappointed for rejecting them by offering them a little bit of hope. Like I did in my last example, I said, "I can't make it this time, but let's catch up another time." I'm giving them a little bit of hope there. Saying it this way doesn't appear too arrogant to decline the invitation straight away. Are you with me so far? Cool. I'm teaching you some nice manners here, guys, okay? Cool bananas. But what happens when you are writing a letter to say no to someone? When you're writing a letter or an email to reject someone, how do you do that? When writing a rejection letter, follow these simple steps. Number 1, say thanks. Number 2, deliver the bad news. Number 3, give the main reason for the bad news. Number 4, offer hope. For example, a rejection letter or an email after the job interview could read something like this. "Hi, Carlos. Thanks for making the time to talk with me last week. While I enjoyed our conversation, I think we need someone with more hands-on project management experience for this role. I wish you good luck with your job search and wish you all the best in your professional endeavors. Signed, faithfully, John Smith." No hard feelings. No hard feelings. And we're approaching the end of today's show. I hope you learned something new today, amigos y amigas. We've all experienced some type of rejections in our lives. We just have to learn how to deal with rejections in our own way. Find what works for you. Maybe crying will fix it. Maybe going out for a run or eating a spoonful of Nutella could make you feel better. Talking with your best friend or with your partner, you'll feel better afterwards, I'm sure. At the end of the day, do what makes you feel good. If you were unsuccessful at a job interview, then try and reflect back on the experience and see if you need to improve on anything for next time. As my mom says, everything happens for a reason. So those were my wise words for today. Thank you for joining me, amigos y amigas. If you've enjoyed today's show, please share it with your friends. Remember, all transcripts are available on my website, englishmadesimple.net. You've been jamming with Milena. Until next time, hasta la próxima.